He's got a game to survive anyway. I think he's got the best technique of anyone in world cricket.
Exactly what the Australian public need to see. A lot of Kohli.
I think he's the next level, and he's obviously the youth icon of India. People look up to him, and he's the hero for millions. And yeah, he's taken that to the next level.
Kohli jumps all over it.
On the field, he's got this simmering, brooding intensity, and you're never sure whether he's going to explode. Or can he keep it under control? That's his biggest challenge, is not overstepping the mark, because he does want to win so badly, and for India to win away from home is obviously a great goal of his going forward, particularly to win in Australia.
Shot, beautiful.
Kohli really is the premier batsman in world cricket, and he likes a big occasion like before, like Lara and Tendulkar and Richards and Javed Miandad, all the great batsmen. They want the big occasion, and that brings the best out in their cricket.
Virat Kohli's just having a little word.
And that'll be 100. He's a good player, and he loves the battle against Australia.
He leads the way, and other players follow him. They want to battle for him. They want to play for him as a captain. That's a big thing to have as a captain. The guys are playing for you and playing for the country. So, yeah, he's a really strong leader. It'll be tough to hold back in this series. The only doubt in my mind is, does he sometimes go a bit too far and almost lose control on the field?
What is going on out there?
He's such a great player, but that's something probably he's aware of, and would probably fine-tune it a bit.
Good chat is good, but to a limit.
He'll be doing everything he can to make sure this series is successful. He's very professional. He would have prepared. This will be like the feather in the cap if he can pull this off. I think the only thing Australia can do is really control how we're playing.
Oh, it's out. Yes, it is.
Play really good cricket, to stick to the plans, and to score runs in our first innings so we can put pressure on their batting lineup. I mean, our attack is as good as anyone, and in our conditions, he'll have to be on his game, and particularly if he's chasing a lot of big scores that Australia put on the board, that'll put pressure on his batting.
And gone!
If we play really good cricket, then a bit like the last series in India where Steve Smith totally dominated him. Steve Smith had this incredible series. He got 3 centuries and scored about 400 runs, and Virat hardly scored a run, so that would have been deflating for him, and he'll look to sort of square the ledger when he comes back to Australia.
He's stolen it, yes he has. There's a lovely 100 from Virat Kohli. Composed and entertaining and immensely important for the team that he now leads. Well placed. Babar Azam's a very gifted player.
He's a very, very classy player. We haven't seen the best of him yet. I had a look at his stats this morning, actually. 20-odd tests for average of 35. He's better than that. You know, he averages 54 in one-day cricket at a strike rate of about 90.
Ah, good stroke. That's his best. Oh, good shot.
Even during the World Cup, you know, we played them in Taunton on an absolute green top, and it looked like he's playing a different game. As soon as we over-pitched, he banged it through the covers or banged it down the ground, and when we dropped short, he got onto that pretty quickly as well, so he's a really exciting talent.
Good shot, fine shot. That should be 4.
Lovely footwork. He loves to dance down and attack.
What they've tried with him in the past hasn't worked, because if you watch him bat, he's better than a 35 average test player. So if they can just sort of massage him and help him through a little bit, probably keep him away from the new ball a little bit here in Australia, then I think they'll get the best out of him. He's probably the guy that I'm looking forward to seeing most during the summer from both teams. I've seen the Aussies a lot, and I've seen a lot of the Kiwis, but I'm really excited to see him. He could be anything.
Yeah, Virat Kohli is an amazing player, incredible captain and leader. He's got an insatiable appetite for being the best at everything. Scoring runs, being the best fielder, being the best fitness-wise, being the best batter. He's got an incredible desire to just dominate. His technique, you'd look at it and it's almost flawless.
Smashed.
He just hits the middle of the bat so much more often than everyone else. He looks like he has more time than everyone else. He just makes good decisions.
Hammers it.
You combine that with an incredible eye and an incredible training ethic, it comes down to the best player in the world.
She's a good player.
You've only got to look at his one-day record. To score as many hundreds as he does, chasing, consistently winning games for his team, if he's playing well, he feels like that he can win the game by himself, and that's a pretty scary prospect when one player has that self-belief and probably ability as well.
Oh no!
I think he'll be very focused on just the series at hand. I don't think he'll be thinking about too much else. He's worried about winning every contest in that moment, not about what's coming up or what's going on. He's worried about that moment, and I think that's why you see him so passionate throughout the whole game. It never seems to waver, it never seems to drop off. Every wicket he's celebrating really hard. Every wicket's like the last one that's ever been taken. I think if you look at the way that he's led that Indian team, like he's bred them to be winners and bred them to be expecting to win, which is sometimes not always easy to do with a team that probably hasn't had a lot of test success away from home. But you watch the way they play now overseas, they expect to win, they expect to perform well, and they're confident when they walk out there. And his leadership, I think, has bred that confidence throughout the squad. You only got to look down the list. They all walk out a couple inches taller because of the way he's been playing and the way he's been leading. So that's a very powerful thing to have as a captain, and it's probably something we've got to be wary of when he does come over.
There's a lovely 100 from Virat Kohli. Composed and entertaining and immensely important.
See, I'm really good friends with all these guys off the field. I know them really well, but I know where to draw the line of friendship, and when you step onto the field, I could be playing against my real brother, it doesn't matter. Yeah, on the field we are professional enough to understand that it will be a competition, but off the field we're really comfortable with each other. I thought that was the case, but it has changed for sure. As I said, in the heat of the battle, yes, you want to be competitive, but yeah, I've been proven wrong. The thing I said before the first test, that has certainly changed, and you won't hear me say that ever again.
Yeah, I was very fortunate to spend some time with Virat in the same team. In a couple of years I played the IPL and got to know him a fair bit off the field, and I think probably know him a bit better than some of my Australian teammates who obviously only see him on a cricket field, and I definitely get along well with him.
He sort of said after last year's Test series that some of his friendships with Aussie players had been tarnished. Do you think that included you, and if so, has that sort of stuck?
I haven't seen him since that series really. I haven't been over to the IPL or really crossed paths with him too much. But yeah, I don't get that feeling at all. We had some good battles on the field through that series. Yeah, there was definitely a lot of feeling for both sides, and just that competitiveness to want to win against one another. And I left that series early with my foot injury, so didn't have the chance to catch up with anyone after the series. So look, if that's the case, so be it. But I'm sure I'll have a few chats with him over this series and share a laugh and chat about the series once it's done.
Down the ground.
The general public see what a competitor he is and how much he loves the challenge of performing home and away, and in a similar way to perhaps myself and some of the others, there's a bit of white line fever there when you get on the cricket field and you just want to perform your best for your country.
Oh, that's good wheels, much better.
good shot.
He's one guy that just seems every time he steps out on the field, he's just giving it absolutely everything. And you go to somewhere like England where he hasn't scored as many runs in the past, and the next series he'll change his game, play slightly differently, and be one of the leading run scorers. So the best players all do that, and just ultra competitive.
Oh, there's a start. There's a lovely start after lunch.
Like all great players, it's just their pure hunger and desire to win and to make runs for their country, and that's ultimately what it comes down to. And hopefully we'll be able to get on top of him early.
Virat's obviously an unbelievable player. He's had success all around the world now. That's always a great battle when he plays.
Oh, look at that. Kick the bones out of that. That is smashed away.
This guy can play.
Been fortunate enough to take his wicket a couple of times.
Oh, it's out. Yes, it is. Super catch.
But he's also scored a fair few runs against myself and Australia, so hopefully we can get one above him this series.
We'll have to have pretty good plans against him, but also respect that there might be a day where he's going to get us, and he's the best player in the world at the moment, so I can't wait for the challenge of playing against him.
Well, this should go all the way. A fine 100 for Babar Azam, his second Test century. And it means so much. He's been battling hard out in the middle, his team in all sorts of trouble.
Ricky, you told us in the lead up to the series that you're excited to see Babar Azam play. Did he deliver on what you were hoping today?
He certainly did. I think everyone saw just how good a player he is, how classy a player he is. Technically when you watch him, he's very, very good. He would have been disappointed with his first innings dismissal, playing a poor shot early on, but looked like he'd assessed how he had to play in Brisbane to make some runs. If you look at the way that he played in the second innings to the first innings, his defence was tight. He played the ball a lot later, waited for the bowlers to come to him, and then we saw how strong he is off both front and back foot. So, look, he's a classy player. And I think the fact that he's done that today should be a really good learning curve for him for future overseas tours, not just the rest of this series, but going somewhere like South Africa or even England, places like that, where he's going to have conditions similar to Brisbane. Then if he plays with a sort of blueprint from today's innings, then I think he can have success all around the world.
20 tests into his career, sort of that point where guys seem to start establishing themselves. I think you were probably averaging similar to him now around that mark in your career, and then things started to take off a little bit more. Is that how you see it? Yeah,
probably. I think as a young bloke, finding your feet at Test level, trying to find a way to survive in the game, really, I think that's the important thing. I think young blokes like him that come into the game with a lot of talent, a lot of skill, it's quite easy to get a fair way ahead of yourself early on, probably the same as what I did. I came in with all the shots in the world, and it's picking the right times to play them and understanding the situation of the game and how you're going to give yourself the best chance to have success. And if you look at his first innings dismissal, you could see that he was trying to impose himself on the contest just a bit earlier than he should have. So, but if he just keeps learning and thinking about what he did today, I think that's the important thing. When you have success, you got to look back and think about why you had the success and break it down. And what was I thinking at a certain time? What did I do early in my innings? What did I do defensively? What did I do when I attacked? And make sure you can just keep doing that time after time.
Beautiful stroke down the ground.
They all thought I wouldn't make it. They all think that you're faking, but seeing ain't believing. I know now. I take all your stupid, burn it as my fuel, yeah. 'Cause we're running out of time, so I'm gonna make it mine.
The chosen one, I'm not the one to underestimate. I want the throne, I've known the crush, obstruction, rush the barricades, levitate. Got it tatted on me, told them follow me. They see the vision, now it's 2020, clear as Tahoe Lexus, clear as day. No longer move around and fear disarray. Pray you hear me like the winter wind against your window pane. Feel the bass, baby, soak it in and let it marinate. It's time to hustle, gotta muscle up and run through barricades, yeah.
name.
Another boundary. Age.
'Cause we're running out of time.
Well, if you're a batsman, you're playing on the
So I gotta make.
Crowd in here are very appreciative. His batting partner
this evening. What a shot that is.